Well, hi, everybody, and welcome back to the Ascension Playground. My name is Ursie, and if you're new to the playground, I just wanted to let you know, welcome. And this is a forum for learning about how to lighten up. One of the things that really intrigues my heart is everything and anything galactic. So today I just felt inspired since it is the Cancer new moon, June of 2025. It's a quite an auspicious date, and it has to deal with how we feel a sense of home. How do we ground ourselves into the foundation of home? And home is a concept that is within. So I thought I would come on and share a little bit of information around a particular new friend's galactic star soul connections. When we look at the star charts for your natal moment, what we're doing is opening up a galactic Akashic records. The Akashic records, many of us know, are each of our earthly lifetimes held within a beautiful library or vault within the core of Mother Gaia. It's held in a crystalline, interdimensional space. But to find out that we actually also have a galactic Akash that records our soul connection to the stars, other places we've been in this system. So without further ado, let me go ahead and share.
So here we have a star chart. Here's the astrological wheel based on a natal moment for this individual. What we've done now, thanks to the good work of Julia Balaz and the Quantum Soul Guidance Practitioners Group, we've learned how to place more stars into our birth moment. For me, this is like cosmic portraiture to understand what energies are running within my field, what and whom can I tap upon when there are times of need for clarity, support, or just to co create with. So, in this particular birth moment, we see that this is Pisces rising. For those of you who are learning how to read charts, within the Galactic Forum, and this may be of help. You can get this chart by adding just the conjunctions to a birth chart. So again, we see the ascendant at 24 degrees of Pisces. Beautiful. So right away, we know that Neptune is the ruler of, of Pisces, and the ancient ruler being Jupiter. So when we look around the wheel, we find Jupiter, the ancient ruler, working in conjunction with the royal star Regulus. This is at 29 degrees, 13 minutes for this powerful royal star. The Arabic lore was that there were four stars in our celestial heavens that we could see from Earth that held up the cosmos as we knew it, watchers of the north, south, east, and west. So, what this is saying is the ruler of this person's natal chart with an ascendant in Pisces, Regulus, the king's star, will play a key role working with their natal Jupiter in the sixth house of service, devoted service, the day to day activities, and the body. Okay, so that's a powerful moment of looking at the ascendant. We saw Jupiter. Now let's look for Neptune. Here it is, Neptune, a powerful Neptune sitting with the energetics of Scorpio. 0 degrees, 23 minutes is this person's natal Neptune. It is conjunct, very strong conjunction of the Shapley attractor. This is a powerful supercosmic point. So we understand the galactic center is the center of our Milky Way galaxy. But the center of the Milky Way galaxy also has a center, and that's called the supergalactic center. And then of which 32 or more universes are rotating. So, what does it mean to have the Shapley attractor working with the natal Neptune? in house 7 of divine partnerships. Powerful energy. So we have the galactic center, we have the super galactic center, and then we have the great attractor and Shapley. So Shapley is the most recent, the center within the center within the center. It's an anomaly. It's not necessarily a black hole. It's this powerful, energetic, working with magnetics and other energies of which we're still trying to understand in the science. But from a galactic perspective, I would tune into this energy to say this person can work with the cosmic Christ energy that Neptune carries, not the theological or dogmatic aspect of Christ, but the higher love. So we have Venus, which is, mundane and earthly love. And that higher octave of earthly Venus is Neptune. So when we see Neptune carrying the energy of Shapley, it just says, wow, a 0 degrees of Scorpio working with Shapley. This person would have divine partnerships working with perhaps the cosmos, not with physical beings, but the potential for intergalactic and galactic beings. I mean, look at the supergalactic center is conjunct this natal vertex. So the vertex is watch for fated or karmic happenings when this point and the supergalactic center get hit by transits. Maybe hit is the wrong word. When an aspect is made, it could be beneficial or it could be a challenge, but there's something fated around this person's 7th house of divine partnerships. Working with Libra energy, myself and the other, does not have to be human, could be animal, could be extraterrestrial. Okay, so we looked at the ascendant, we looked at the rulers of the chart, Jupiter and Neptune in Pisces. Now let's look at the sun. Do you see how the sun is 1 degrees Aquarius, 33 minutes? Interesting, carrying that number of 33, the higher level of divine cosmic union. So in the 11th house of your associations and groups, this sun of 1 degree is conjunct the beautiful star Altair. This is in the constellation of Jupiter's Eagle. Interesting, right? Jupiter, the Greek and Roman god of Olympus, carrying that higher vibrational energy. So when you bring in the energy and conjoin the natal sun, this is who I am, this is who I know myself to be, my identity. I work with groups, I work with my friends, I work with associations out in the world for the greater good. Now, Aquarian energy, this is the house of Aquarius, the 11th house, the one that carries dreams of the future. So, carrying the dreams of the future for the collective, working with the star Altair in the constellation of Jupiter's Eagle. Fascinating. All right, now let's look at the natal moon. We see the moon back here in Taurus. Beautiful, 22. So up here we saw the number 33, 22, the master builder from an emotionally intelligent place of Taurus. This is the creature comforts. This is resourcing and self-resourcing. All right, we don't see any conjunctions associated with your natal moon, but let me move to the next page. Here we can see, working again with Julia Balaz's star charts, this is in the basic report section, the moon in Taurus, 22 degrees in the 2nd house. But here we see an opposition to Centaurus. So this tells me right away that there's some type of energy working on an emotional level that this person carries. I resource myself. I find my way in the world with what I know to be are my boundaries. This is my house. Working with the centaur, This is Centaurus constellation. This tells me there's a priestly energy working with the emotional intelligence. So, just on this particular graphic, again, Aquila is carrying the star Altair, working with this person's sun in Aquarius, 1 degree, 33 minutes. Centaurus, even though it's an opposition, we work to integrate this energy. Perhaps in the early days, I don't want to think of myself as bringing something to the altar for, the greater good. This is my offering. But sometimes an opposition will be another person coming in and saying, let's integrate this energy so you find the center. So perhaps at this day and age for this particular person, this idea of I claim that I am bringing a gift forward for the collective, and it makes me feel good. I resource myself. It doesn't just feel good, but I come alive. I follow my passion for bringing a gift forward that will support the collective. All right. So if you're new to galactic astrology and you want to know who are my star families of origin, where have I been? Who can I claim as we have soul connection? Definitely in your conjunct alignments. So just working on the broad base, not the star, but the constellation. This person works with Aquila, Jupiter's eagle. There are galactic points. Look at 1, 2, 3, 4. So definitely working with galactic energy, either receiving downloads, having contact, transportation, remote viewing. But it's also this idea of learning how to stay in this trust and surrender mode when you work with, let's say, Shapley or the great attractor. This is calling us into a place of, if you have Shapley or the great attractor in a soul connection to your birth chart, this is saying, I'm learning how to trust and surrender with the flow of whatever is coming in. I'm learning how to be more resilient and flexible. I can try and fight it, but when it's a typhoon or it's a tsunami, you just have to learn to embrace, accept, and go with the flow. All right, so a lot of galactic connections here, especially with the North Node in the ninth house. Very auspicious. All right, so there's more here, but let me get going with the next slide. All right, so again, the sun for this person in Aquarius in the 11th house. Quite auspicious, working with the leadership energy of Altair. So, what we do when we start looking and reading charts is we start looking, at least I do, I look for what are the common star families that keep showing up. You'll get one or two that will pop in here and there, but what we're really looking for is a theme or message. And so I mentioned the centaur. You can see that Alpha Centauri and Beta Centauri are showing up right away with the sun's energy of the birth moment and the lunar aspects, along with the ascendant. So when we see all three, sun, moon, and ascendant, it says to me, pay attention to Centaurus. I would strongly recommend to this individual to really embrace, sit down, embrace, and meditate with your star family from this beautiful constellation. All right. So we understand again, this is priestly energy being activated in the sun's identity with Alpha Centauri. Now, Beta Centauri Hadar, Hadarian star seeds, let's say, carry more of a creativity, a sensitivity, especially to water and the arts. So, working with this person's moon in the second house, yes, how has creativity shown up to help support you to become more in balance with your emotional ups and downs? Choosing creativity as a spiritual pathway would be strongly advised. Look at this opposition, 0 degrees, 32 minutes. All right. For me, I also love to look at what is the North Node. We look at the North and South Node to understand where did I come from in a previous life, South Node. This is the comfort level. This is what feels familiar. But the North Node is the stretch goal for this person's life purpose, let's say. So, what do you have to share with us in this life? Well, the third house of learning, exploring, writing, chitter chatter, that would feel more comfortable. Gemini, air, mutable air. But the stretch goal is much more in the Sagittarian fire energy. Let's go out. Let's embrace the philosopher's stone. Let's say this is the philosopher's house. And Sagittarius is not just long distance travel, but it's going out again, even toward the galactic. So we see that the North Node is conjoined the great attractor, 3 degrees, 3 minutes. Boy, the three and the triune energy, the 13 degrees of the great attractor in Sag, 20 minutes. Fascinating. So, what does this say? The North Node working with the great attractor. Things are going to happen that will push this individual out to engage more with the galactic or an awareness of galactic consciousness or super cosmic consciousness, however you want to frame it. But events and things will happen that will say, hey, there's more than what we know this 3D experience to be. Okay, so the North Node is opposing Rigel, this beautiful star in Orion, at 0 degrees 10 minutes. According to astrologer Bernadette Brady, Rigel carries the scholar or the educator energy. So if this person wanted to work with this idea of what are you here to teach us, about your experiences that you've been thrown out into these other hyperdimensional or multidimensional planes, what have you found and how will you teach us going forward? Again, the North Node is, there's a reluctance to do this, but at this age, let's say if you're 50s or 60s, there's more of a settling in and what gift am I going to leave behind for future generations? All right. So, yeah, the North Node is trining Tau Ceti, 0 degrees 50 minutes, working with the constellation of Cetus, either the sea monster or the whale energy. Tau Ceti, a trine. So, a natural gift. This would be a marker working with the North Node, and it was sextiling in the South Node. So you probably came in with a special gift of having your ear to the waters of the collective, really being able to tune in and what's happening on a subconscious level with the collective of humanity. Are you tuning in and feeling things? Might have been something that you came in with and knew as, let's say, as a young person or a teenager. And people looked at you and said, what are you talking about? But a natural gift is where we see the markings for the trine to Tau Ceti. And then Eridanus, the beautiful constellation of the river, this mighty river held in the celestial heavens, is squaring its star named Achernar by 1 degree 42 minutes. So this square to your North Node is sometimes a crisis point. A square could be internal, saying, I think I've just had enough crises in my life. I don't need anything more. I'm going to shut down and let someone else take care of it. Okay. But the North Node is going to constantly call you forward and place you actually in the middle of the chaos, in the middle of the crises, so that you can hold space as this river floods. Here comes something, incoming. It's the debris, the detritus that's coming down that river. So if we look at the higher side of Achernar, being able to hold steady, there's a lot of sediment. There's nutrients at the end of the river. How to take that energy and work its magic for good. That's something that your North Node would call you out to. So if you look holistically, and as many of you know, I'm a painter by training, and it's given me an eye for how to read patterns. And when I look at the midheaven, this is the MC in Sagittarius, 10th house, right away you see, look how many more soul connections are to the midheaven. This individual is being invited to bring something out for the collective, to build a vocation based on what you love and share it with the the greater collective, not just with sharing it with one person or a small group or just your family, but this is something that goes out into the world. So a midheaven, right away, the conjunction to the galactic center. Wow, less than 1 degree conjunction. So we could see you out in the world holding space for the center of the Milky Way galaxy. Wouldn't it be interesting to see how are you holding center for the Milky Way galaxy to benefit others? I'm going to move now to Draco. This is the great dragon, the creator being energy in our celestial heavens. Now, I know in today, 2025, Draco is oftentimes associated with the era of reptilians, something to fear. And I'm not going to negate that. I would just say there's a different era to look at holistically with the great dragon Draco. So Etemen is the eye of the dragon, right? Tubin, which used to be our North Star, which is now Polaris, which is interesting. It's the next soul connection for the midheaven for this individual. But the eye of the dragon working at the midheaven in these super cosmic points. What is the eye of the dragon, this great creator being? Because in the beginning, before linear time, were the dragons. And the dragons were often asked to be the guardians of the sacred apples or the sacred pole. Guard the pole star as we spin on our axes. So do you see how there is an early era of Draco? There's a present era on the linear timeline, and then there's a future era. Draco is very well adept with spirituality, technology. There's a high side. The caution is an over reliance on technology. The other caution is get out of my way. I'm just going to get it done. And I'm going to not care who I run over. So with a midheaven working with the eye of the dragon, 0 degrees, 7 minutes. In numerology, the number 7 is often associated with the bridge between the earthly realms and the celestial heavenly realms. So for me, it's a marker. Yeah, using the eye of this ancient dragon, I would actually find a Google image and paste it near me to embrace and work now with Etemin. Help me navigate to bring whatever this bigger gift is co-creatively and galactically out into the world. Yes, there is an opposition to Polaris, our current North Star, 0 degrees, 45 minutes. Yeah, the North Star, the compass, the guide. Instead of working oppositionally, how do I bring this knowingness of navigating within these realms and within this time space of 3D? Remember all that energy of chaos and flux? The North Star, calling it in Polaris, sitting in Ursa Minor, the little bear. Bring in the little bear, bring in the dragon, bring in these super cosmic points to help guide you. And the next point, the star point here, a soul connection, working with the great hunter Orion. This is the constellation of that many of us know by its belt stars. Well, Betelgeuse or Betelgeuse is 0 degrees, 56 minutes in opposite to the midheaven. So sitting at the nadir, sitting at the foundation. I'm going to go back to Polaris. When you look at the North Star helping support the foundation of this individual, you have an inner guidance. And now Betelgeuse with the great hunter. This is a marker for success. This is the right shoulder of the great hunter. It is success guaranteed. Embracing that and saying, okay, let's work together. It's what we focus on. And if we celebrate and bring in whatever you determine as success, okay. And there's a gift or a trine to Andromeda, working with the Andromeda galaxy. This is really really interesting. 0 degrees, 1 minute. Okay, so the Andromeda galaxy, it's not in our Milky Way galaxy. It's held in the constellation as a marker, but in no way is it in the constellation of Andromeda. So Andromeda herself carries the energetics of freedom at all cost. But working with the Andromeda galaxy, this is a marker for the mother galaxy that feeds and gave birth to the Milky Way galaxy, our galaxy. So when I see this and I understand and know that the Andromeda galaxy beings are high vibrational, beyond ultraviolet. These are the winged ones, oftentimes associated with the angelic realms, but they're closer to humanity because they gave birth to our Milky Way galaxy. So I know this is a lot. Of course, I could share more, but this is just a taste test that I wanted to bring forward in preparation for my friend as we meet. And hopefully, this will help anyone in the Quantum Soul Guidance Practitioners Program as you start looking at the broad brushstrokes and doing a reading for others. It's such a gift to be able to look at that birth moment and bring in the portraiture that's not just three-dimensional of form, but actually engages with the energetics of other stars. If you're interested in learning from Julia Balaz and her online courses, I've placed my affiliate links below in the description. So if you're interested, feel free to click on a link and go check out if this is at all of interest to you. If not, no worries. It's been fun for me to share with you today on this auspicious day again of the Cancerian new moon, working very potently with how do we resource ourselves? How do we carry our home within us? Whether that's biological, whether it's family of frequency, as Pam Gregory says, or whether it's including and choosing to include much more of your galactic star families. Nothing to fear when it's yourself and your family members from the stars. Okay, everybody, see you next time on the Ascension Playground. Bye for now.